And again, folks, I understand this isn't your responsibility, but if you love what we do here at the Voice of College Football overall, and specifically for many of you that just join us for Miami Talk on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, keep coming back. Like the videos because it's a YouTube algorithm formula. So just please like the videos and also share the videos and bring folks in so we get a larger audience. But we appreciate all that you've done. And I know a number of people comment to me every day, hey, I share the videos, I do this, I do everything I can. So I appreciate it. Another thing you could do is we've got a Facebook page, Mark Rogers TV, and you could just go over there and like that as well. Okay, Roderick Kemp. And Roderick has contributed to the channel. Thank you so much, Roderick. We appreciate your contribution and asking a question, which is pretty general, but I'll throw it out there for Cam. We have a contribution here. Will the quarterback who wins the starting job for Miami be expected to be more game manager or gunslinger in the words of Roderick?
A little bit of both. You know, quarterbacks need to make plays. Quarterbacks need to make throws, need to hit those throws. If you think back to the FSU game, on that last touchdown drive, N'Kosi Perry hit that beautiful, beautiful seam route to Jeff Thomas, a play before the eventual game-winning touchdown to Brevin Jordan. He had to hit it was 3rd and 10 on that throw to Jeff. It was 1st and 10 because it was the next play to Brevin, but like, yo, you had to make those throws, and a quarterback needs to do that. Now, the quarterback also needs to take care of the ball and not put it, in harm's way. That's in the throw, like by throwing. That's in, his option game, ball handling. That's handoffs, any kind of a way. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of both. We're going to need to kind of control, manage the game, as it were. But also that player is going to need to make plays. So I don't necessarily think it's going to be 100% one way or the other. I think that every good quarterback has a measure of both of those to them. And obviously the beautiful thing is, even with as talented as any quarterback is here and any of them to win the job, they are surrounded by elite level talent everywhere you look. So even if they are being a playmaker or gunslinger, obviously we know Tate Martell plays that Johnny Manziel style. You heard that word, style. Not saying it's a direct, performance analogy, but he plays that kind of, style where, he'll run around a little bit and extend plays. And that's where his real greatness was seen, both at his prior college stop and, in high school when he went, 43-0 at Bishop Gorman or whatever. Even if he's doing that and making, spectacular plays, there's still going to need to be a 3rd and 2 conversion where he's going to, flip the run play to run to the left if the defense is overloaded to the right. There's still going to be that 4-yard completion on 1st and 10 just to stay up, ahead of the sticks. Those things are going to need to be present as well, no matter. And I just use Tate as an example. Obviously, him or N'Kosi or Jaron could win the job. But yeah, there's going to be a measure of both managing the game depending on the situation and, gunslinging / playmaking, whatever you want to call it. Just because, yeah, you need a quarterback who's going to make plays.
Trayvon Hill, a pretty major disruptor at Virginia Tech as a sophomore, had 9.5 tackles for loss and 5.5 sacks. And he was off to a serious start last year. 3 games, 4.5 tackles for loss and 3.5 sacks in 3 games before he got nicked up. And so your guy 863 is asking about his shoulder injury, and it's difficult to get injury status news out, but do you have any idea?
I saw that was like reported today by Greg Likens and then confirmed by Andrew Ivins of 247 Sports. I don't know Greg Likens' affiliation. That's why I didn't say it. I'm not hating on him. I just know his name, not who he works for. But that's old. Like I remember that being from like this spring, like earlier, January, February, March. So to hear that again, it's kind of confusing because I thought that we all spoke about that. But in any event, I believe that Trayvon Hill is going to be good to go by the season opener. So does it really matter?
We touched on this last week when you did a very nice job of lining up the quarterback situation and the pluses and minuses and who would bring what value based on their skill sets. Has the whole Tate Martell, because I see this in the live chat, it's all over the place about Tate Martell. People, he seems to be the most what word am I looking for? The most polar opposite in regards to the fan base reaction or perception of his ability and whether he should be the guy. And the negative is obviously pointed toward his inaccuracy as a quarterback. Is that something that was known high school Ohio State, despite the huge skill set otherwise, or is this just founded on a few practices in the spring?
I think it's founded on a few practices in the spring, and the thing is, again, he's going to add value in the run game as well. I mean, he's decently accurate, and I mean, he was fairly accurate in high school. You know, but obviously you come in, you have a different coach, you want to do things different ways. I mean, it's just like with any kind of a thing. If you have a new teacher teaching the same subject at a school, if you have a new, you know, director directing a new show of television or something, you know, you're doing the same thing, but you're doing it slightly differently based upon the foundation of the person who's giving you that direction, instruction, teaching, whatever you want to call it. So it's not like he's the worst ever in terms of accuracy. He does need to, Tate Martell, that is, he does need to improve his accuracy because everybody can. And it's difficult for him because he's 5'11", playing, you know, behind an offensive line that averages 6'3" if he's playing under center. That's why he played in the spread, so you could, you know, spread things out and see the lanes. It's like Kyler Murray. You're not going to put him under center 100% of the time because he measured in at 5'10" and a quarter, but like I think that Kyler Murray is probably closer to like 5'9" and a half. You know what I mean? And like there are those things. I mean, if you've ever been on the field level, you know, and I have been at practices and things like that, and you know, I'm 6 feet tall, but like barely. You know what I mean? If you're behind a big offensive line, bro, like you can't see over those dudes. Like there's a constraint there because of your height. Now I know it's like every tall person isn't always great, but I mean, yeah, that's why you want to have, you know, a stereotypical 6'3" plus quarterback so you can see over the line instead of just having to spread things out to see between those windows. So, you know, that matters for Tate Martell, you know, to have those windows and have that space because he's not going to just be there and look over anybody. That's just not going to happen. So, yeah, I mean, I think that is a factor in his inaccuracy or, you know, some of the things from the spring, but I think he has a strong enough arm. It's not the strong. I mean, it's probably the weakest of the three quarterback contenders at Miami. But he has a strong enough arm to make most of the throws. If he knows he can't make a certain throw that Jaren or Nkosi can make, then he probably won't try it and everything. So, and again, I've spoken about this before because Danny knows himself has said it, that the offense will look a little different depending on who's at quarterback because he's not going to ask Tate Martell to do those things that he cannot do. You know, throw just a tight seam route at 12 steps, which is ended up being, 20, 25 yards on a line. He's not going to ask him to do that because he doesn't have the velocity. Now, Jaren and Nkosi, oh yeah, let it rip, on that kind of a route. So you're probably going to take those routes out of the tree and off the table. So, I say all that to say, I think it's really, he had a couple really bad practices in the spring. Tate Martell did. So we know some of the things he cannot do, but we're not necessarily going to ask him to do those all the time. So I think he can be accurate enough in the offense, and especially if you're building in those quarterback-friendly throws. But, I think that all three quarterbacks do have a legitimate chance to win the job, and we'll see who ends up coming through. But, the talent is there, even if his accuracy is not his 100% strongest suit. It's, it's not enough to keep him off of the field, if that makes sense as well.